What I want to do here is really dive down that rabbit hole of automation with Plunet and what is possible for any company of any size, any LSP. I'm going to talk a little bit more in depth about all the different Plunet modules, how they play with each other, and how you can use them to get to different levels of automation. A couple key takeaways is the goal of an autopilot solution is not to replace a human operator. It's to allow the human operator to focus in on more critical tasks. You can't have automation, you can't have AI without humans. I really want to focus in on process automation, the understanding of inputs and outputs. That's what processes are. It's a series of inputs and outputs. The output of one process becomes the input to the next process. And if you map those properly, that is your first step in great automation. Process mapping, if you don't know, is a technique of pretty much just writing down the whole process, step by step, of how things connect with each other. And if you've ever played with Plunet, if you've ever seen how the workflow section of Plunet works, that's exactly what you're doing. Doing it on paper first, saying, here's what my humans are doing today, how can I use jobs in Plunet to replicate this, and where are those areas that I can focus in on to remove humans from the process. So imagine that this document right here, a minimum job, right? You got about 2 to 3 hours to get it back to the customer. Who is the most important person in the process, if you only have 2 to 3 hours, that you need to maximize their time on the project? It's the translator. Everything else around that, you need to try to find a way to reduce the cycle times on what that's taking in order to give the translator the most time of that truncated. Timeliness is the #1 KPI here. The next step of it is you have a workflow on the back end, and if you're using Automation Manager, you're doing that automatic convert from request to order. This is the Autopilot methodology. It's not going to be used on every single project. It's flexible, but the key components are the same. Consistency, standardization of a source document, an entry, defined workflow that's going to be suited for your project and project type, maximizing the linguistic time on the project, and then automating client delivery, reduces risks as well. Level 1 means you have taken that step. You've taken that next step to understand that this isn't scalable, this isn't gonna work. You're probably going into level 2. You might be using some order templates or some item templates or some job templates and so forth in Plunet. Level 3 is a further reduction of those repetitive tasks. That's really focusing in on workflows, possibly utilizing some process jobs and some automated actions within there. And if you can get 80–90% of your projects within the level 3, level 4, that would be great. Level 4, I think you do need that extra commitment. I'll say resources, cost, time, because to achieve that you do need either a dynamic CAD integration or some kind of API integration with another system that's gonna allow you for a little bit more hands-off. Find someone who is passionate within your organization about this and make sure they have time, because A, it's gonna be good for them, it's gonna be good for their career development and good for their mental well-being to be able to dedicate that, and it's gonna be good for your organization. You're gonna see the ROI in giving that person the few hours a week to focus in on this. Your project managers then spend more time building relationships with your resources. That's key. Because with automation comes that disconnect from your resources. Your event manager, of course, enables connections up to an SFTP or a CMS. A lot of customers would require you to do that. All this type of automation, any LSP can do it. You can just focus in on what you want to automate, dedicate your time there, and in no time you'll be running on autopilot just like we are. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.